Hello, new piano teacher. This video will go over your lesson structure, especially for that first piano lesson. And we'll go over a few tips to just make your transition very smooth. I'm going to do a quick screen share to show you a few notes that I have. Okay, so in your first lesson, we're going to talk today about how to start, how to end your lesson, what your lessons should include, and then quickly how to end that lesson and get that child out to the parent to help them feel confident for the week, what to go over at home for practicing. So, when you first meet that family for the very first time, you want to be sure if you're walking from your office, if you're walking down the hall, or if you're even just waiting in the lobby. But you want to start, you want to give a good introduction to the parent for sure, introduce yourself, and then certainly be sure to talk to the child. Say hello to the child, call them by name, tell them how excited you are to meet them and that you're so looking forward to teaching them in their piano lessons. And just a quick, introduction to yourself, and then you can walk down to your office. You can say, hello, to the child. Are you ready to go? I'm so excited. Let's head down the hallway. I'll show you where my office is. And then you can take the child down into your office and get started. In your lesson, be sure to use every minute. So if it's a 30-minute lesson, you might pick that child up right up at 3:30, and you want to go right until 3:59, 4 o'clock, and then you can head out and walk them back down. But be sure to start on time and then end on time using every single minute of your lesson. Um, when you first take the child and then you get into your office space, your goal right then is to develop that rapport. You want to try to start making that connection, making that relationship with the child. They may be a little nervous, especially if they've switched from another teacher. Certainly, if they're brand new, they don't have a clue what's going on for a lesson and what that's going to even go, how it's going to go, what that will be like. But also, if they've switched, if they're a transfer student, they may be a little apprehensive about you and your teaching style and your personality. So, you want to be sure to help them to feel at ease, feel comfortable, make it feel like a very safe space for that child. So, you want to develop rapport. Get the student talking, ask them about themselves. You can ask them how old they are, you can ask them about their family, what else they do besides piano lessons, what else they're involved in for extracurricular activities. You can ask them about school, what their favorite subject is. You can also ask them things what they don't like, maybe what subject they find hard at school or what they just don't enjoy. Fun things, like what do they like to do in their free time? What do they like to do on the weekends? Some fun things like that. Pets are always fun as well. Then you can tell them about yourself as well. You can tell them, of course, you're introducing your name. You've already told them that and what you would like to be called. Yeah, a little bit about your family, kind of those same things that you asked them. That's always good to tell the student as well about your family, what you like to do for fun, extracurricular things that you do as well. If you are still in lessons, if you're still in school or taking piano lessons yourself, so get them talking, start to develop that relationship, and then you can talk about piano specific things. So you can ask them, what do they really like about their piano lessons? What is a favorite song that they've played so far? And then that's a perfect lead in. Can you play it for me? Do you remember that favorite song? Maybe it's a favorite game that they've done. Maybe it's a favorite, just another favorite activity that they've done, maybe an iPad game or something. So transition those questions to piano, get them talking about piano, what they love, what they've enjoyed playing so far, ask them to play it for you. And then you could also ask them what they find challenging about lessons or maybe something that they don't like. And that's fine to still share with you. You're just gathering up all that information in that first meeting. All of that shouldn't take too long, maybe 5 to 6 to 7 minutes, just a little bit at the beginning of that first meeting with the child. But you want to develop rapport and you want to develop that relationship and that special one-on-one time. All right. So then you're going to get down to playing your music, to playing the piano, and your lessons should always include a balance of new material and review material. So that could be what the child did from the previous week, what their previous assignment was, and you want to be sure to hear that. And then also what you're introducing in as a new concept or a new piece. So you can ask the student what the last thing was that they've played. Again, if this is from a transfer student, what the last thing was that they did with their previous teacher, if they remember that. Certainly, you can look at their books and see what the last thing was that they've done from maybe their method books, from their piano adventures book. A lot of our students play from those. Also, if they have an assignment book, you can look in their assignment book and see what that last page, what was written out in that assignment page. Um, that assignment book, I think that's very important for kids, especially younger kids. They're going to quickly forget. So that's important for the child to have a record, for the parent to have a record at home, and also for you to have a record from week to week to see exactly what you've done with that child. And then, I like sticky notes on my music. I like to place that on the child's homework to do at home, just in case they don't look at that assignment book. They'll be able to see quickly what to do in their book. Okay, they can turn right to it by what's marked with that sticky note. So in the lessons, I try to include maybe 2 to 3 pieces or even activities. Maybe a theory page, maybe a few other things if they've learned scales, or if they tap a little rhythm activity, or if there's even a quick little game or something that you're doing with them. And that really should fill about a 30-minute lesson. 2 to 3 things. If it's songs, if they're playing 2 to 3 things, maybe a little theory, maybe a quick little game or some other activity. Maybe it's movement, maybe it's listening. And that really should fill a 30-minute lesson. And again, those 2 to 3 pieces could be review from last week. Maybe they need to work on that again and improve something. Maybe they need to work on it again and fix and correct some things that you've worked on in the lesson. And then maybe only 1, possibly 2 new pieces. And you'll want to be sure to write that down in their lesson book if they have that assignment, journal, or page, and write that down in there. And that should fill your lesson. So as your lesson progresses, and you get to the end of that time with the child, a really good idea is at the end of the lesson to get the child to say back to you, what are you going to practice this week? If you watch your clock, again, if you started at like maybe 3:30 and it's about 3:55, 3:57, and you're finishing up the lesson, you can say to the child, okay, tell me what you're going to play this week at home, and see if they can remember the names of the pieces, what they're going to practice. If it's a theory page, just get them to try to remember to say that to you, to be sure everything is written down, and then you'll walk them out. But I find that's a good trick to get the kids to repeat back to you what their homework is. All right. So then you're ending your lesson. It's right at that ending time. You're going to gather all their books, make sure everything is ready to go. If they have a bag or just gathered all the materials, send it out with the child. Be sure to walk the child to the parent. Okay. And you'll want to speak to the parent pretty quickly, just giving them a very brief overview. Say that we had a great lesson together. Tell them the child tried their best. They did a great job today. And we learned, maybe just give them a quick overview. Today, we played this, this, and this in our lesson. Today, this is their homework to do at home for practice this week. This is their new song, and I want them to do this and this and this. Just very, very quick. You can tell them something positive that their child did in the lesson, and then maybe just a quick little overview. You can also remind the parent, I wrote everything down in their assignment journal or their assignment book for home practicing. One last note about your drop offs. I think the parents will be in the waiting room, but you always want to make sure that child gets to the parent. Sometimes parents wait in their cars, and that's fine. I just like to open up the door in our lobby and make sure you spot the parent and that child actually gets to the parent. Again, I think most will be in the lobby and they'll connect with their child. But you never want to just let a child walk out into the parking lot all by themselves. You want to make sure that child gets to the parent and you see them and you wave to them, and that connection is made. Okay, so those are a few tips of how to start your lesson with a new student, if they're a transfer student or a brand new student, in your lesson, what to cover, and then how to end your lesson. And hopefully they'll have a great, successful week at home to practice.